Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Guys, make sure you are subscribed to all three channels: Evolutionary Energy Arts, the original EEARTS, the backup that became kind of our go-to live channel, and then Heart's Ohm, which is all of the spiritual stuff with no catastrophe and trauma, so to speak. Well, I want to ask you guys, have you ever heard of this, the Rock of Starvation? What are we looking at here? It's just a river. Maybe a river in Europe somewhere. Yes, in Budapest. A rock has resurfaced in the Danube, a very famous river. It's called the Rock of Starvation. For centuries, its return has meant one thing. The river is so low, the mills fall silent, crops fail, and then hunger follows. It surfaced in 1616, 1718, 1811, 1830, 1842, 1868, and then 1947, and now it's back in 2026. For the first time in 44 years, there's a master number, Hungary has shut down all but one of its Danube-cooled nuclear reactors. A nearby farmer puts it plainly: I've lost nearly 50% of my harvest, and it could hit 70%. Since I started farming after the end of communist rule, I've never seen a catastrophe like this. The rock is a warning. It's been delivering it for 400 years. We know what it says, but we haven't been listening. Well, some of us have been listening, but maybe are a little frustrated, because what are we to do about it? Other than what we're doing, which is talking about this type of thing every single day. And I know a lot of you guys are as well. You know, Budapest is just amazing. In this particular area, you could see some remnants of perhaps past redos. Let's say do's instead of that other word, what the sun apparently does. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, the architecture is just phenomenal. And you see what looks like a little, meltology going on in the background there. What is that? That rock that appears to be carved? It's almost as if something was melted. Yeah, again, Earth's history, I don't believe it's what we've been told. And then we see these amazing, what some people would call Tartarian type of buildings. Oh, Budapest has quite a history, and the stories it could tell us. Look at this. What is that, a bank inside of a rock? I mean, is it a bank in a cave? Oh, there's so much more that meets the eye when we look really closely at all the details of some of the architecture around the world. And, again, these historical events that we are watching transpire. Are we really that much different from what was going on back in the days of ladies and lords, when we had feudal society? And if you weren't a lady or lord or royalty, you were just simply a peasant. And they could take your property. They could, just grab your son and send him off to war. That type of thing that we do now with things like the draft. Well, this is Rainbow Falls in Hilo, Hawaii. It's roaring as Hurricane Lala brought massive amounts of rain. Look at this. Normally very beautiful and tranquil. And wow, that is certainly raging. In fact, Hurricane Lala did not have a direct impact. It's amazing. The big island of Hawaii hasn't been hit directly by a hurricane in forever, it seems. Certainly, it is really curious that it has missed a direct hit, but it certainly did receive a lot of water. And this right here, you can see Kilauea erupted on 8/15. Episode 53 produced lava fountains and spectacular footage as Hawaii was getting, in some places, over 2 feet of rain. I kid you not, the maximum observed rainfall in Hawaii was 43.54 inches on the Big Island. That is an insane amount. By the way, also, there's over 100,000 people in Hawaii that still don't have power. The other thing you might notice is Indiana. There's over 100,000 people in Indiana that similarly do not have power, as they lost at least 6 lives with the severe storms and historic flooding which I heard called both 1 in 100 and then 1 in 1,000 by some sources, flooding again. What is going on in this world when we have this tremendous, just everything that could go wrong seems to be going wrong when it comes to everything natural disaster related. Belgium's largest wildfire on record has burned around 3,000 hectares and is advancing towards the German border. And here you have people saying they saw trees exploding along a railway track. Residents are questioning how luxury homes in Stourbridge miraculously caught on fire. Testimonies of random exploding trees. Rarely do wildfires ever destroy homes. Now it's happening everywhere, all across the Western world. It seems, we're being told that these fires are record-breaking and the floods are record-breaking, yet here you have a different survey. The EU's Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Service shows that to the end of June, this year had substantially lower wildfire activity across every continent than any year since they began collecting data in 2003. Well, that's only 23 years. But wait a minute, you're saying that the wildfires are actually lower? I mean, all we see is Europe is on fire. What's going on? What is going on? What do you think is going on? Retail opened after the fire, business. Homes, no. Permits aren't even being issued. Why? Again, does somebody want the land? When we're talking about this in LA, remember those fires and that whole fiasco? And, turns out again, some of the land was wanted for other things. Well, people have not been allowed to rebuild their homes in this area in Los Angeles. But you know what else? It's same thing in Maui. 3 years later, approximately 100 homes have been rebuilt. Not one business or commercial structure has been issued a permit. So it is different in that here homes have been able to be rebuilt, but not businesses. But then again, we look deeper and we understand that, there are people that want the properties, perhaps for different reasons. Perhaps there's, maybe need for data centers, according to some people, in certain areas. Perhaps there's certain type of businesses. Perhaps there's those very smart cities that they want going up in certain areas. Remember again, the hurricane in Mexico and the damage that was done around Acapulco. I mean, we can't keep up with all these different storms and fires. It certainly seems like things are just raging out of control. And at the same time, we do know people in certain areas that their lives have been completely upended. Here you have massive, giant hail in Denver, Colorado, covering roads and bringing traffic to a stop. This definitely looks unusual. This is August in Colorado, but I guess that could happen when you have that type of elevation in spots, right? So what are we to believe? What are we to trust? Science shows babies can sense who's a good person and who isn't long before they can talk. Yeah, again, fresh in from, let's just say, the other side, so to speak. And, babies are perceiving in a different way than we perceive. Again, we get indoctrinated and taught to trust the logical mind, trust different facts and figures coming from different sources that perhaps we shouldn't be trusting. How about trusting your gut, trusting your instincts? Again, if you've had any sort of major surgery or any sort of major illness and you've had to take antibiotics, can you trust your gut? Can you? Is your gut in balance? Because again, our microbiome, what is that? That's everything that's living inside you that isn't you. It is responsible for a lot, and it actually can more than just influence our moods. It could cause such an upset and imbalance in our bodies that we might not think straight. We might not really be as sharp as we think we are. And maybe we're not really thinking logically. If we're trusting certain individuals, to give us true, accurate science. But then we understand that there's been revisions later on where studies get totally upended and are proven to be very, very inaccurate. And then sometimes, revelations come out that there was a bias, there was some sort of agenda behind this study. Well, then again, maybe we'd be better off trusting our gut, and maybe we'd be better off keeping our gut and our mind in as good a health as we can. This is why we always preach, look at yourself holistically. You are a mind, body, spirit complex. You have a body. You already are an eternal being. You are, in fact, consciousness having a temporary human experience. And when we get into these bodies, if they're not functioning optimally, are we really seeing clearly? Obviously, if we are taking in fluoridated water, how could you possibly really be seeing things clearly? Again, if we are under the influence of certain substances, how could we possibly be seeing things clearly? And if we blindly trust people in positions of authority simply because they're in a position of authority, are we really, really entrusting our lives, our welfare, and thus the welfare of our families and all of our associated friends to something that is less than optimal, if you know what I mean? This has been an eye-opener. Again, if you meet a stranger and you're walking your dog, and your dog automatically starts growling or behaving in an inappropriate way, showing that this person that's approaching you, your dog, senses it may not have the best of intentions. You should really pay attention to your dog because, again, they have a sense that is much more advanced than ours. But I do think that we could have the same sense, but it takes a balanced life. It takes a healthy mind, body, spirit complex, which is hard in a world that is so toxic, but it can be done. Who remembers when we had front bench seats in the car and no seat belts? Yeah, and no cameras and no computer chips that could lock our doors and keep us, basically under house arrest in our house, in our car until whoever it is comes along and takes us off to the asylum. So just throwing out there a little craziness. And look at this puppy says, wait a minute, who are you? Where did you come from? Where did you come from? Are you my replacement? Has humanity been replaced? Is it an invasion of a body snatchers type of scenario going on? Or is everything just normal here on planet Earth at the shifting of the ages? What do you guys say? Please do share your comments, your thoughts. What are you seeing, feeling, and sensing? We appreciate you and thank you for your support. Much love, Source bless, and namaste.